Let's get to another big Supreme Court ruling today and its strong reaction.
Yes, today the court backed a football coach who was fired after praying on the field right after football games. Tia Ewing is in Studio 32 with details here. Tia?
Yeah, this is another interesting decision from the Supreme Court. It's another ruling that's facing mixed reaction from Americans. And joining me now is Professor Stephen Maynard Caliendo from North Central College. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Tia.
Let's get into it. Do you think this decision shows the Supreme Court is eroding the separation between church and state?
It's difficult. I mean, it's always in the details, right? That's why courts have to make these decisions. The First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution has two separate clauses about religion. One is the Free Exercise Clause. The other one is the Establishment Clause. And both are really at play here in this case, whether the coach, because it's always been clear that you couldn't lead prayer in a school, in a public school, but you also were not prevented from praying quietly at a school. This one was interesting because the coach wasn't overtly leading a prayer, but he was praying on the 50-yard line very visibly, and others joined him. And so this became quite complicated.
Can you talk about this decision and what it actually means for First Amendment rights moving forward?
Well, if you're someone who believes that there should be more public prayer, that it should not be prohibited as long as it's short of government establishing some sort of religion, you should feel comforted and support this ruling. If you're worried that it's inviting more prayer into public spaces and maybe only particular types of prayer, then you should be concerned about this ruling. So it's certainly a case that expands First Amendment rights in some ways if you're thinking about expression of religion. But if you're thinking about establishment, I think there's a question about how far it goes to allow, at a public school setting, a very visible employee doing something publicly and tacitly encouraging, if not overtly encouraging, others to participate.
Let's talk about the legitimacy of the court. We saw last week where the court made a huge decision as it relates to Roe v. Wade. And, you know, the court has previously been seen as fair and somewhat balanced, but now the Supreme Court is being seen as political. What do you think that says to the American people?
Well, it's been an interesting 5 or 6 years because in addition to these very public and very salient decisions, including the decision in Dobbs last Friday that overturned 50 years of precedent of women's rights to choose to terminate a pregnancy or to carry it to term, we also had 3 very high-profile Supreme Court nominations. And that's really the time during the Senate confirmation hearings when the public tends to think about the court in the most political ways. In between those hearings, when there's not a new justice taking the bench, we tend to respond to decisions as if they were made based on legal basis. We may agree or disagree with them, but we assume that they're being made by well-intentioned people reading the law differently. And I think in the midst of all that's gone on, at a very tumultuous time for a variety of reasons, the court's legitimacy is certainly at stake here. And I think Justice Roberts has been signaling that at least since the leak last month.
All right, we'll be watching to see what happens moving forward. Professor Stephen Maynard Caliendo with North Central College, thank you so much for being with us.